Yo, my peoples, what's up? Welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. Jason here. Today, I have a crowdfunding preview for Tiny Epic Dungeons Adventures. This one is the first big box expansion for Tiny Epic Dungeons. Wait a minute, Tiny Epic, they should be in little boxes like this. Well, in the Adventures module, you are getting a slightly bigger package, a slightly more epic package, as they say, because you are going to go through an 8-chapter adventure. It is everything you know about Tiny Epic Dungeons. You could use the same characters or the characters that are included in the new set. New gear, new treasures, new monsters, and in particular, an unfolding story that will play out over those 8 adventures through this adventure book. This is a crowdfunding preview. Everything that you see here is a prototype. I'm not going to play through the full first adventure. Just want to give you a taste. If you want to know how Tiny Epic Dungeon plays, we have a very popular playthrough by Colin here in the One Stop Co-op Shop for main gameplay. You're here to see if Tiny Epic Dungeons Adventures is worth your gaming time and your gaming dollar. Let's dive right into the preview right after these channel announcements. We are the One Stop Co-op Shop, a multi-platform gaming empire, and your one stop for solo and cooperative gaming goodness. Once again, as I said in the intro, I'm not going to get into too much of the dungeon exploration and monster killing. We have an excellent playthrough on the One Stop Co-op Shop of this game. Go ahead and go into the One Stop Co-op Shop playlist called Tiny Epic. You will see Tiny Epic Dungeons in action there. Let's get into the adventure-specific content. First thing you're going to want to do after you get everything set up and familiarize yourself with the rules, same basic rules of Tiny Epic Dungeons, so you should be able to jump right in if you know that one. Let's talk about the adventure booklet, which is going to get you going. I'm going to get into a little bit of story background, so if you want to skip straight to mechanisms, go ahead and check the timestamps below. The game gets you started with a campaign prologue that'll let you explore on your own. For our purposes, know that you are heroes for hire in the magical land of Ogmore. You have been tasked by a small town to help it get rid of a sinister curse by traveling to a local keep and looking for the echoes of Ogmore, a magical set of relics believed to hold the key to the town's salvation. Chapter 1, The Ruined Keep. Upon arriving at South Abbey, you are met with a disturbing sight. The once bustling village is now a shadowy, suffocating place. A putrid stench rises from the blackened, barren fields, which now seep a foul, gray sludge. Emaciated heroes and livestock sickly meander, and the townsfolk despairingly shuffle around with gloom and sorrow etched in their faces. The elderly mayor, a gaunt and weathered man, guide your party to the crumbling remnants of Keep Erbol. According to legend, the echoes of Ogmore rest somewhere beneath an ancient king's sarcophagus. Howbeit, the keep's catacombs are controlled by a terrible band of kobolds. The townspeople keep their distance, fearing the loathsome creatures. After hacking through bramble, you behold the keep's once vibrant courtyard. The grand garden, in past times with its ornate statues, flora, and fountains, is now shattered and overrun by weeds. A weathered cobblestone path snakes its way to 2 large oaken doors on the courtyard's far end, leading into the dungeon. Suddenly, a kobold appears, clad in rotting animal hides. It challenges you with a snarl, breaking the serene silence of the hallowed grounds. As you can see from the chapter directions, you are now pointed to opening up one of the game's 8 envelopes. Yep, you get 8 envelopes. That is part of why the box is so big. So let us take a look at Chapter 1, The Ruined Keep. As you open it up, for the most part, you are going to get setup instructions, and I have already done that setup for you. And also, I don't have this as a prototype, but there is a secret within a secret, Chapter number 1. I also have the rules for the enemies and everything else you need to get started for Adventure 1. Along with setup instructions, you're also going to get a chapter objective. In this particular case, I'll be venturing into the deeper part of the dungeon, out the other side, and eventually need to make it to this sarcophagus, and then we'll see what happens. Something else you get in this package is a spiral-bound adventure book. This will interact with the familiar dungeon map tiles. There will be 8 different layouts, and they'll play with the geometry of the space in different ways. Don't worry about movement. It's pretty simple. One square on the map equals one map card, so that takes care of itself. As you progress, each adventure will have its own individual map card. This is spoiler free, so I will let you explore those on your own. If you're familiar with Tiny Epic Dungeons, the characters work the same exact way. You can flip in some of those older characters or use some of the new ones. You have your slots for hand items and armor and trinkets, etc. One new thing that you get in Tiny Epic Dungeons is this Explorers Pack. As we walk around, we'll find opportunities to get some Explore tokens, and that is how we are able to delve deeper into the dungeon. And also get some neat powers along the way too. So this one is a little bit of a subtle change for Tiny Epic Dungeons Adventures, but I think it makes a big difference. So here is a movable spawn point. As you go through the different acts of the dungeon and delve in deeper, this will appear in different spots and present different challenges for the heroes to face as they deal with the goblins. In the base game, there was only one spawn point, and it was at the entrance. So it kind of acted as this tether towards the entrance if you wanted to manage the goblins, which you kind of had to in order to progress the game. It gave the game a little bit of a Pez dispenser feeling that I didn't enjoy so much. Here, it's a lot more organic. This will show up exactly where you need it to in terms of advancing the story and present you with some challenges that just feel better from game to game. There's a dungeon door right there. We have some stinky kobolds. The game is telling us that they're terrorizing the town, so let's just go ahead and get romping. I'm going to start my round with Prince Orn, Human Archmage. Reason being is because I want to hit that goblin with a spell. Spell penetrates through armor, so I don't have to deal with this thing's armor. It's not that strong, but I just don't like rolling and hitting and not killing the one hit point goblin. So let's go ahead and go with Prince Orn first. But along the way, we are going to duck in and do a search check. Search checks are minor actions, as you can see from the color of the icon. That means that I can do them and continue my move. So let's go ahead and spend some energy, -4 energy, in order to draw one mystery token. So let's go ahead and spend that 4 energy. Orin has plenty of it, and get a mystery token, or exploration token, which is going to be a key. Ooh, that is not uncommon. There's a bunch of keys in here. You need them in order to progress through the dungeon. Now that I have performed my search check, I can only do that once per turn. I'm going to mosey over onto this goblin. Not sure why they let me just search along the bushes before they attack, but them's the breaks. All right, I am not caring about the armor. I just want to pass my int check, which is a 6. Here we go. We have a 6 right there. And lucky for me, I don't have to use these dice, which means I get 2 energy as well. Don't have to worry about that shield, so... too bad. My armor does nothing. So that was burst spell damage. I passed my int check. I have to spend 3 energy. So that is everyone in the area, not just that one goblin or any enemy, takes -1 health. They only had 1 health. And let's move my energy back up to 3. I have reached letter A, so let's get reading. You approach 2 doors that lead to the catacombs below. One is secured by an enchanted lock with glowing runes. The academic amongst you remarks that there's no spell, physical feat, or lockpicking that will breach it. Only a key will work. How convenient. Perhaps you and your companions can find one by exploring the courtyard. The other door, unlocked, no doubt leads to a much longer and more dangerous path. So you might have games where you are digging through this search pile and not finding what you need. So the game does provide you with alternate ways through, and you're going to be generally taken care of here in Tiny Epic Dungeons. Usually there's multiple ways to get through an obstacle. But I was lucky enough to find a key, so I'm going to go ahead and discard it in order to open the door. And oh, by the way, that was the stinky kobold. They're basically loot bags. Whenever you beat one, you get either a item or a spell. Let's see what our intrepid archmage gets. The astral journey for a regular action of 4. I can teleport? Ooh. And get an extra action when I land there? I wonder if that works into rooms I don't know. There will be an FAQ. Every single item in the old game has an explanation in the Dized app. I know there was that big printout. I don't really know where that printout is now, but I know the explanations are in the Dized app, and I'm sure once this lands into your hands, it'll be in that app. So that will be for the Archmage. They're done. After every single player turn, we get progression on this mat. This would be an activation of enemies, but there are no enemies. The next activation is going to be a goblin coming out of the spawn point. Let's keep going with our second chosen character, the Commander Lena. We are going to move 1, and because searching is a free action, even though that's a little bit silly, let's go ahead and stop and just peek through the bushes and see what our Archmage missed. Okay, we are going to spend the 4 energy, so it does cost something. It just doesn't cost any time or actions, which is fine. All right, we got a bomb. There it is. So we are going to take our bomb into this room over here. Their movement is a total of 3, so that is all of the movement that they can achieve. Here is a room. So I think we follow... there's a treasure trove, I believe. No enemies in here. I believe we follow the base dungeon rules, which is that when you walk into a room, it has to be that there is an open passage right there. So there is a locked door right here, which is going to lead to a wall, which is nowhere and nothing. Oh, no. So I have a choice. I could either go around or use this handy-dandy new bomb that I picked up. So this is a new mechanism to get through the adventures, as I was saying. I've got to search for things in order to get through. So, boom! Well, let's move it back there. That doesn't matter. I just felt like doing that. And now we have a passageway, which is going to lead into this room. So that is a standard action, I believe. So that will be the end of our intrepid, this guy's turn, or this lady. And the next turn, we will be able to progress through the dungeon. Back to the player mat, the torch moves once again, and now we get an enemy spawn. Just like in the base game, if you run out of goblins, then you lose. In the base game, it was 4 goblins. Here it is 9 kobolds, and then each of the adventures will have a different threshold, different enemies that they're throwing at you.
You cannot defend against my stink.
But rather than take out goblins one by one, in this adventure, kobolds, I'm going to go ahead and keep on going. They will chase me, and if I can get a couple built up, then I can AoE them down. Love being a mage. We are going to go 1, 2 into our newly discovered room. Ah, no, that's too early, minions, no! So we got here, we have a bugbear. You taking care of my little brothers? Now you shall pay with blood. Dush. Good Lord. Was not quite prepared for that, but that is shuffled into the deck. There is nothing I can do about that. But because it's a demo, I'm going to go ahead and cutscene that whole daring minion fight. I won. Spoiler alert. Got a couple of loot out of that. Kept on progressing through. Defeated more minions. Got more loot. That's what's going to happen in Tiny Epic Dungeons. You get more loot and more spells. And in this particular case, more exploration tokens. I have a lantern. You'll see what that does when you play your game. And also another key. I promise you, once I get the production copy of Tiny Epic Dungeons Adventures, I will play through a full adventure, probably a scenario number 2 at that point. As long as they're putting out Tiny Epic, I'm going to feature it here on the One Stop Co-op Shop in many different forms. And one thing I did before my adventure began, I recommend doing this every time you play Tiny Epic Dungeons. Don't just shuffle every single piece of treasure together. Look at the classes that you have and call out some of the more useless items so that you can get those cool set bonuses going. Right now, Commander Lena has the Scale Mail of the Dragon and the Glaive of the Dragon. Same thing with the sets. The more you have sets, the more powerful you are. In this particular case, the more I move. Is that in the rules? Rule of cool. That's what I say. All right. So now it is Commander Lena's turn, and they see some goblins on the other side. Here we go. But we have Section B to read. Forging a way through the dim, dank passage, you step into a vaulted chamber. Your eyes squint to slowly adjust to the brazier-lit room. Towering stone columns stretch upward, supporting a ceiling that is precariously held together by a tangle of thick roots and dense cobwebs. You have strong trepidation. The whole structure could collapse at any moment. Foreboding. At the end of the tomb, a distinct stone sarcophagus catches your eye, emitting a faint blue glow that serves as a beacon in the gloom. Surge of relief at spotting your goal is swiftly shattered by the appearance of two menacing kobolds. Bloodthirsty and emboldened by the trespassers in their lair, they block your path to the sarcophagus, ready to defend their dark domain. Emboldened, but still stinky, so they're really pathetic, but should be able to mow these down. All right, so there is the new spawn point. We move the spawn point, like I said in the intro. Love the fact that this kind of recreates itself. Now we have some dynamic combat. All right, that was during Nira's turn, so we are going to go ahead and enter this space and try to mow down a stinky kobold with my brand new Glaive of the Dragon. That's pretty easy. Strength attack +1. I'm not exactly sure what that second symbol means. I didn't get a guide for the newer items, but again, you will be with resources when you get the final production copy. We're just going to go attack with a +1. 3 dice. I will take it. And let's go ahead and give this a roll. I'll give the enemy a roll just in case. And we got a 5. Okay, 5 is all that I needed. And I got 2 energy, which brings me to max. All right, we have another piece of gear. Whoa, Aegis of the Dragon. This is a hand item. I have a second set. And wow, she is really feeling good about this dragon stuff. If you're wondering if you can carry over items into the next adventure, there will be a chest of continuance that you can't keep everything because then there'd be no point. But you can keep one thing and then have that ready for you the next adventure. All right, we tick down the timer. I'm feeling okay on time. But we will continue to get goblins pouring in. Apparently there's a little hole over here. They're going to start crawling in there. Sure. I don't care because we are going to keep on going. I see a sarcophagus. I see a key. So Prince Orin is going to go 1, 2, 3 and use their action to insert the key. Inserting the key and prying open the ancient lid, you shatter some ancient wizard's mystical seal into luminous fragments. The slab dramatically arcs away, revealing a withered corpse adorned with a sword, a shield, and armor. The metallic surface glows with spectral power, illuminating the dim room. As your fingers brush against the surface, a low rumble shakes the chamber, and the floor convulses. What sorcery is this? You cry over the tumult of crumbling stone. The room is collapsing! Shouts your companion. Ripping the treasure from the corpse and equipping all you can carry onto your person, you frantically search for an escape. A chilling howl echoes through the chamber as the bodies of the once slain kobolds now rise, seemingly more menacing than before. The race for survival has now begun. The dungeon is collapsing. Kobolds have been reanimated. Immediately open package 1! How does the game simulate a collapsing dungeon? What do the reanimated kobolds look like? Are they still stinky? All of those questions I will leave to your imagination as I conclude this demo. I believe that gives you enough of an idea of what you're in for, how it reimagines that basic Tiny Epic Dungeons experience and adds something new. If you are interested, go ahead and check out the Kickstarter. The link will be in the show notes below. This is Jason with the One Stop Co-op Shop, reminding that we'll see you at the next stop.